Mark Carney. Polished, praised. But who is he really? A Canadian patriot or a globalist in a maple leaf disguise? Today, we expose the truth behind Mark Carney and why his policies, his career moves, and his silence on real Canadian struggles tell a very different story. We're told he's a financial genius, a savior of economies. But while he's busy hobnobbing with the Davos elite, regular Canadians are struggling to put food on the table. While he lectures us about climate change from his cushy boardrooms, small businesses are being crushed by regulations and taxes championed by, you guessed it, Mark Carney. This isn't about left versus right. This is about right versus wrong. This is about asking tough questions and demanding honesty from those who claim to lead us. Buckle up, because we're about to expose the truth behind the carefully crafted image of Mark Carney. Let's talk about Mark Carney's career, shall we? This isn't the resume of someone who understands the struggles of everyday Canadians. This is the resume of a globalist, climbing the ladder of international finance, more comfortable in the halls of Davos than a Tim Hortons in Saskatoon. Governor of the Bank of Canada. Sounds important, right? But under his watch, household debt ballooned. Then he jumps ship to become governor of the Bank of England. And what happens? Brexit? Economic uncertainty? Coincidence? Or a pattern of conveniently exiting stage left before the curtain falls? Now, he's advising Brookfield Asset Management, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and the World Economic Forum, pushing globalist agendas like digital currencies and ESG frameworks. These are the priorities of the elites, not the priorities of hardworking Canadians. When was the last time Mark Carney spoke about the skyrocketing cost of living? When did he last address the struggles of small businesses buried under red tape? When did he last visit a rural community devastated by the loss of manufacturing jobs? His silence speaks volumes. He's completely out of touch with the reality facing Canadians every single day. He's more concerned with impressing the global elite than representing the people he claims to serve. This isn't leadership. This is elitism at its worst. And it's time we called it out for what it is. We need leaders who understand what it means to struggle, to worry about paying the bills, to make tough choices for their families. We need leaders who are grounded in reality, not floating around in the clouds of globalist fantasy. Mark Carney's career trajectory tells you everything you need to know. He's not one of us. He's not fighting for us. He's part of the problem. Let's talk about the carbon tax, shall we? This isn't about saving the planet. This is about control. This is about punishing everyday Canadians while the elites fly around in their private jets, lecturing us about our carbon footprint. Mark Carney is a leading voice in this charade. He says we need higher carbon taxes to influence consumer behavior. Influence? That's a nice way of saying control. They want to control how we live, what we drive, how we heat our homes. Meanwhile, who's really paying the price for these policies? It's not the wealthy elites. It's the working class. It's the truckers trying to keep the supply chain moving. It's the farmers struggling to put food on our tables. It's the seniors on fixed incomes trying to heat their homes in the winter. They're the ones feeling the pain at the pump, seeing their grocery bills skyrocket. They're the ones struggling to make ends meet while the globalist elites pat themselves on the back for saving the planet. This isn't about the environment. This is about punishing the working class, about making life harder for everyday Canadians. It's about control, plain and simple. And Mark Carney? He's their poster boy. He's the one telling us to tighten our belts while he enjoys a lavish lifestyle, completely insulated from the consequences of his own policies. This is hypocrisy at its worst, and it's time we called it out for what it is. We need leaders who understand the real-world impact of their policies, who are willing to stand up for the working class, who will fight against these globalist schemes designed to control and punish us. We need leaders who will say no to the carbon tax, no to higher energy prices, no to the elites who seek to destroy our way of life. Chapter 3. Mark Carney loves to preach about transparency, especially when it comes to our finances. He wants us to believe he's a man of the people, looking out for the little guy. But let's pull back the curtain on his own financial dealings, shall we? Behind the polished speeches and carefully crafted image lies a web of numbered companies and lucrative speaking engagements. This isn't about public service. This is about personal enrichment. He's amassed a personal fortune worth tens of millions. Tens of millions. And how did he do it? By advising the very institutions he claims to regulate, by cashing in on his connections, by playing the same game as the elites he claims to hold accountable. Imagine if the average Canadian tried to shield their income through numbered companies. The CRA would be knocking on their door faster than you can say tax audit. But for the elites like Mark Carney, it's just good planning. This is the hypocrisy at the heart of the globalist agenda. They demand transparency from us while they operate in the shadows, enriching themselves at our expense. They tell us to tighten our belts while they feast at the table of excess. They preach about equality while they rig the system in their favor. We need leaders who live by the same rules they preach, who understand the value of hard work and honesty, who are accountable to the people they serve, not the special interests they protect. Chapter 4. What does Mark Carney actually stand for? What does he believe in? When was the last time you heard him speak passionately about the issues that matter to everyday Canadians? He's quick to lecture us about climate change and digital currencies. But when was the last time he spoke out against the erosion of our freedoms? When did he last defend our right to free speech? Our right to raise our children with our values, our right to disagree with the government without fear of censorship. He's silent on the issues that hit close to home, the mental health crisis affecting our young people, the rising rates of suicide and addiction, the breakdown of the family, the loss of faith and community. These are the real issues facing Canadians, but you won't hear Mark Carney talking about them. He's too busy hobnobbing with the global elite, pushing their agenda, ignoring the struggles of the very people he claims to represent. This isn't leadership. This is detachment. This is the mark of someone who is completely out of touch with the values and priorities of everyday Canadians. We need leaders who are rooted in our values, faith, family, freedom. We need leaders who understand the importance of strong communities, who will fight to protect our culture and our heritage. We need leaders who will stand up for what's right, even when it's unpopular. We need leaders who will put Canada first, not the globalist agenda. Mark Carney may be a global finance hero, but that doesn't make him Canadian leadership material. Leadership means standing with the people, not above them. Canada doesn't need another carbon tax puppet. We need truth, grit, and accountability. And it starts by calling out the false prophets in suits. Don't be fooled by the polished speeches and fancy titles. Look beyond the carefully crafted image and ask yourself, who is Mark Carney really serving? Is it the Canadian people or the globalist elite? The choice is clear. We need to reject the globalist agenda and embrace the values that have made Canada great. We need leaders who will stand up for us, fight for us, and put our interests first.